Hi friends. Hi friends. Today I'm starting a new chapter called as consignment. I'm starting a new chapter called as consignment. See, what are the syllabus you are having? That syllabus, two important chapters I have covered. One is final account, the other one is partnership accounts. And you are also having one more important chapter called as company accounts. That company accounts I wish to take later on. So before that, I have decided to start consignment chapter. It is also an important. So five chapters which are important, particularly the topics that has been left out to you. Like you can expect a 10 marks question, final accounts and not for profit making organization. Even you can expect essay question like 15 marks or something like that. So the five chapters, the major important chapters, which is to be covered, out of which two I have covered, three is consignment, and two more important chapters, not for profit making organization and company accounts. I think with that the major chapters will be completed. Then we will be left out with the small chapters called as inventory, average due date, account current, depreciation, etc. Okay. So let me start with today's class with consignment. I go one by one. I think what is the meaning of consignment? If you look at the consignment, the literary meaning is consignment is to send the goods. Meaning of consignment is to send the goods. Okay. So simple words. This I'm let me put it in this way. Today's class will be learning an important things, important points which you should understand. Important points. First of all, before I start this chapter, accounting is a special transaction. Sir, why a special transaction? I'll tell you. Consignment accounting is a special transaction. Now here, let me first tell me the meaning of it. I'll explain, then I'll be putting it on the board screen. Consignment means the transaction of sending goods by one person to another. The person to whom the goods have been sold is called as agent. The person who is sending the goods is called as principal, or the person who is sending the goods is called as consignor. The person to whom the goods have been sent is called as consignee. Now, in simple words, I am appointing a person to sell goods on behalf of myself, and such a person is called as agent. When generally I need to appoint an agent, simple words. When generally I need to appoint an agent, I need to appoint an agent to sell goods on behalf of myself when I can't sell staying in the locality, same locality. Simple words, if I can sell, I'm staying in Hyderabad. I'm staying in Hyderabad. Why should I appoint an agent? I myself can sell the goods in Hyderabad, no? Generally, this particular business will take place when my product, the product which I'm selling in the place where I stay, for example, Hyderabad. For example, let me give an example where mangoes or grapes are very famous in Hyderabad. Okay, mangoes and grapes. So we see that in fruit market, we'll be seeing so many vehicles which are coming to fruit market in Hyderabad, and those fruits have been exported to foreign countries, other states, other places. So I'm a fruit vendor. I'm a fruit vendor. I purchased 10 trucks of mangoes. I got it a very reasonable, cheap price. 10 trucks of mangoes. Or recently you might have seen coronavirus. Mozambique. Mozambique is also very like and with the initiative of the government, they were able to sell to the one of the Asia biggest market in Delhi. They have sent the Mozambique to the Delhi. See, I think the same is the case. There is a very good demand for the mangoes or Mozambique or say grapes in other parts of the country. I may feel that here is a lot of competition, availability of fruits. I felt is a scarcity of these items in other places that I can encash by sending these goods from Hyderabad to other places. But the problem is that to sell my items, say for example Delhi, or say for example Pune or Mumbai, I need to go there. I need to appoint a local person. I need to take a shop, and I'm not familiar with the local market there and the language which they speak. I may not be so comfortable. So a lot of risk involvement is there. Instead of that, if I appoint a local person who is also fruit vendor, he is selling the other fruits which is available in their own place. Say for example apples, the other fruits, etc. Other fruits which they can orange, whatever it may be, which is locally available. I may be appointing the same person as an agent so that there will not be any problem because he's already selling some fruits. If I send mangoes also along with those fruits, he will be selling. But that means those fruits are not available in Delhi. He is getting from Hyderabad and he will be selling them. Such a person who is staying in Delhi is called as an agent. The person who is sending the fruits from Hyderabad is called as a principal, and the principal technically is being called as consignor. Is this clear? The person to whom the goods have been sent is called as consignee. Okay, so we have learned three words. What is consignment? Sending the goods. And who is consignor? The person who is sending the goods is called as consignor. The person to whom the goods have been sent is called as consignee. I think these three things, first let me start writing here. Consignment accounting is a special transaction. Okay, let me explain about special transaction. Sir, why we are calling it special transaction? See, every businessman, will they appoint an agent? Can you expect every businessman, every business is having agent? No. Only rarely available items which are not available in the local market can be exported or can be imported. Am I right? That is what is called as special. Special means this will happen very rarely for those people who are engaged in these kind of activities. That is why it is called as a special transaction. When you say special, the entries are also special. My dear friends, I'll tell you one thing. You learn journal entries. You learn journal entries. The business transaction. Am I right? You learn journal entries. Purchase of goods, sale of goods, purchase returns, sales returns, expenses, income, purchase of asset, sale of asset. For any business, be it a sole proprietor or a partnership or a company, whoever is involved in trading activity, transactions are common. No? Then for consignment again, why should you learn the entry? Why should you learn this chapter? Purchase goods by a person who is staying in Hyderabad is dispatching the goods to agent in Delhi. And for sending the goods, I'm incurring some expenses, freight charges, transportation charges. I can write entry, I've already learned. Why should again I learn these entries? Reason is The person who is sending goods on consignment, he can't treat as a sale. The only possession of goods are being transferred. What is that is being transferred? Only possession of goods are being transferred. The possession, but not ownership. And this transaction will occur rarely. So they have created some specific accounting ways for recording to find out the profit or loss on these activities. That is why it is being called as a special transactions. Okay, let me quickly explain meaning. Meaning. Consignment means the transaction of the transactions of sending goods by sending goods by one person to another person is called as consignment. Then next, meaning of the consignment meaning. Meaning of consigner. The person who sent the goods called as consigner. Then meaning of consignee. Meaning of consignee. The person to whom the goods are sent is known as consignee. Consignee. Next, the relationship between consignor and consignee is that of principal and agent. The relationship between the consignor and consignee is that of principal and agent. Okay. Next, let us see the important features of consignment. Point number one. Only the possession of goods are transferred. Why I am giving detailed explanation? Because you can expect a statement true or false. Only the possession of goods and not the ownership of goods is transferred to consignee. What is it I said? Only the possession of goods and not the ownership of goods is transferred to consignee. Only ownership is not transferred. Ownership is lying with whom? Consignor. Risk of goods remains with whom? Consignor, because he is not transferring ownership. No, when I am not transferring my ownership, the risk is remained with whom? Consignor. Then here we will be learning that consignee is incurring some expenses, no, for selling the goods. Those expenses will be reimbursed by the consignor. Reimbursement means paid back. Consignee is entitled to get reimbursement of expenses incurred by him. Agent is incurring expenses on behalf of principal, that is consignor, incurred by him on behalf of consignor. This is as per agreement. Am I right? There is agreement. Now, but what about the consignee by doing? Agent will get only commission, no? Consignee is entitled to get commission only. But not profit. Then who is going to get profit? The profit or loss on sale of goods that is sent to consignee on consignment belongs to whom? Consignor only. These all are true or false statement. Chance is there. Belongs to consignor only. I hope you all are following. Right. And then we see one more important term. So far I have explained you about meaning of consignee, relationship between and futures. Okay. Now let me take you, when after knowing these things, I told you first step is sending the goods. When consignor is sending the goods, along with the dispatch of goods, he will be sending a pro forma invoice price. He will be sending a pro forma invoice price. Invoice is a bill, no? Pro forma. What is pro forma? Model. It means it's very clear. It is not actually invoice. What is pro forma? See, whenever I am selling goods, I will give invoice. If I sell, it is called as outward invoice. If I buy, it is called as inward invoice. I am giving my invoice. Bill I am giving to my customer. But here consignor is sending the goods to consignee only to sell the goods. Only to sell the goods on behalf of consignor, no? So consignee is not my customer. Consignee is the only agent. Consignee will become my customer when consignee is selling the goods on behalf of consignor, then consignee will be called as customer. Till such time consignee is not my customer. So when I am dispatching goods, I can tell him that this is my quantity, quality, price. This I am giving a details of what is that? Tell me. Quantity, quality, price is being mentioned in the pro forma invoice. This pro forma invoice is like an invoice, but it is not a real invoice. Tell me once again. Pro forma invoice is It looks like an invoice, but it is not a real one. That I am explaining here. Here I am writing. Proforma invoice looks like an invoice. Proforma invoice looks like an invoice, but is really not invoice. But is really not an invoice. Is this clear? Then I told you the object of proforma invoice is to convey the information to the consignee regarding quantity, quality, varieties, comma, price of expense, etc. The object of proforma is to convey the information to the consumer regarding quantity, quality, varieties, and price of expenses. Is this clear to all of you? This is the main objective of proforma invoices. Then, proforma invoice is sent by consignor to proforma invoice sent by consignor to consignee. And I told you this is source of information from whom? Source of information for selling the goods by consignee. And this is source of information for consignee to sell the goods. Received on consignee. Received on consignment. So we have seen today what is proforma invoice. Now today you are looking at the other side of it. The other side of it is account sales. Account sales. What is account sales? It is a statement sent by consignee to consignor. I told you pro forma invoice sent by consignor to consignee. It is statement sent by consignee to consignor periodically, period wise. Periodically. Now let us look at the contents. Contents. What are the contents? Generally, this is source of information for consignor to find out what this statement contains. Sales made, then expenses incurred on behalf of consignor, commission earned. Sometimes consignor will be sending advance, that advance, and the balance due to the principal, etc. will be there in contents. Point number one, sales made by consignee, then expenses incurred by consignee on behalf of consignor. You know that for selling the goods on behalf of consignor, for selling the goods on behalf of consignor, consignee will be asking some commission. Commission earned by sales made by him as per agreement. This will be there, commission and as per agreement, commission 4%, 5%, 6%, whatever it may be. Then an advance, like when you are sending the goods, consignor will be expecting some advance because my goods are with you tomorrow. Who knows that you may be making payment or not? So that is why he may, as per agreement, may ask for advance. Okay. Then we discuss about advance later on. Then fifth point, as I told you, the balance which is due to the principal. Balance which is due to the principal. Now here I am writing note. Account sales is a source of information for consignor to know the profit or loss on consignment. The account sales statement is a source of information for consignor to know the profit or loss on consignment. Okay, now let me start with the first point I've explained you today. With the meaning is the first point I can make. Then meaning of consignor second, meaning of consignee third, futures fourth point I've explained you. Then pro forma invoice price fifth point I've explained you. These all are theory part of it. In account sales, most of you are aware of this chapter, but still I am revising it. Sixth. Now seventh point which I am talking about is seventh point. Let me talk about two more things I wish to discuss with you is commission. 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 What is commission? It is a remuneration paid by the consignee, paid to the consignee by consignor in consideration of services rendered by the farmer selling the goods. Simple words. Is the remuneration paid to consignee by the consignor for rendering the service. Rendering the service of selling the goods. Selling the goods. Selling the goods on behalf of consignor. Okay. This commission can be two types. Two types of commission. One is ordinary commission. Second one is special What is special commission? Consignee gets over and above the ordinary commission. Consignee gets over and above ordinary commission is called as special commission. Is this clear? What is special commission? Consignee gets over and above the ordinary commission is called as special commission. Now, what is ordinary commission? Simple words. First, let me start with ordinary commission. See, normally ordinary commission is calculated as a fixed percentage on gross sale proceeds. Fixed percentage of gross sale proceeds. What is ordinary commission? It is a commission usually paid at a fixed percentage. At a fixed percentage on gross sale proceeds. At a fixed percentage on gross sale proceeds. Proceeds means amount collected. Amount collected is called as proceeds. Fixed percentage, say 5%, etc. But here note, consignee is not responsible. Consignee is not responsible for bad debts. Here, consignee is not responsible for bad debts. It is called as ordinary commission. Next, second point. Special commission. Special commission has been divided into two categories. Special commission has been divided into two categories. What are those two categories? First is A, overriding commission, and then del trade commission. Most of you are aware of it. Overriding commission and delicate commission. Simple words, overriding commission is an extra commission allowed over and above the normal commission. Over and above the normal commission. When it is generally offered, when a new product is launched in the market and the agent needs to put extra effort. Suppose if a known product not an issue, for a new product convincing the people to buy is a big task for a consignee. For doing that, to encourage him to sell, some additional commission is given. Is called as overriding. That is for putting hard work in introducing a new product in the market. And similarly, sometimes the agent has been given responsibility for entrusting the work of supervising the performance of other agents. He is an agent, but he also been given some additional work. Look at your area, nearby area, how the agents are working. For supervising also, he may be giving some commission. And then I think basically we can see the first 2 points. First point is new product in the market, and for effecting the sales at a price higher than the price fixed by the consignor. Suppose consignor has fixed a particular item to be sold at 100. Consignee is selling at 120. Then consignor is very happy. I have told you to sell at 100, but you have sold it 20, no? Okay, on the 20 rupees, more than 120 rupees, I am going to give you 5% commission. Consignor is happy, consignee is happy. Then consignee, after tempting to get this kind of commission, consignee wants to maximize it so that he can get maximum commission. So I think these two are the things. And then delicate commission, simple words. Delicate commission is given for bearing the bad debts arising on account of credit sales. When there is a credit sales made by consignee with the consent of consignor, with the consent, otherwise consignor can't take the risk. With the consent of consignor, and because of credit sale, there is a chance of having bad debts. Now, who is going to bear the bad debts? That is the question. Bad debts is a loss. If consignor is paying delicate commission, consignee has to bear. If consignor is not paying the delicate commission, consignor has to pay. Simple words, delicate commission is given, consignee responsibility. No delicate commission, consignor responsibility. That is what here I am giving this. Overriding commission. Overriding commission here. First point. It is an extra commission. It is an extra commission allowed over and above the ordinary commission. Second point. Generally, this commission is given A. Generally, this commission is given A when the agent is required to put hard work. When the agent is required to put hard work in introducing new product. New product. This is point number one. B. Point number B. For affecting the sales at prices higher than the price fixed by the consignor. I've already told you. 100 rupees I fixed the price, is selling at 120. But the 20 rupees extra commission will be given for affecting the sales at a price higher than the price fixed by the consignor. In such case, which commission will be given? Overriding commission is given. Now let us see daily credit commission. Now this daily credit commission this commission is an additional commission paid by consignor to consignee for bearing the loss on account of bad debts. The loss on account of bad debts. This is clear? The loss on account of bad debts, if any, arising out of credit sales of consignment. Credit sales of consignment. Okay. Simple logic. Second point. Who will bear the bad debts? Who will bear the bad debts? If consignee gets the daily credit commission, Come on, answer is consignee will bear the risk. Consignee will bear the risk. If consignee does not get it correct, consignee does not get delicate commission. Come on, tell me, who has to bear the risk? Consignor will bear the risk of bad debts. Risk of bad debts. I think today's discussion so far, I think you all are following. But important point here, note how to calculate delicate commission. This can be calculated, that this commission can be calculated on credit sales or total sales as per instruction in the problem. If there is no such instruction, this is important point. Will be calculated on total sales, but not on credit sales. Delicate commission will be calculated on total sales but not on credit sales. Is this clear to all of you? And I'll be explaining about how to calculate overriding commission when problem comes. Okay, so I've given you how to calculate delicate commission. Okay, so then we have completed these two things. Commission also we have learned. Next important point is about, sometimes you may see an advance. I think this is very simple. When consignee is sending goods, consignee has to pay some advance, that is in the form of cash, checks, bills. That I am not explaining here. I think this is orally you can learn. Okay. So now we have completed all the basics which are required for you to understand this chapter. Okay, my dear friends. Then we'll be left out with problems part. When you look at the problems part, we should start with the next class, the things which we should discuss. The boundaries of the chapter that we'll be discussing tomorrow. Journal entry. Tomorrow we will be discussing. Thainar Kandaini. Then unsold stock. How to calculate. Then abnormal loss. Giving complete list, then we can discuss. Abnormal loss. Journal entries, unsold stock, abnormal loss. Invoice price or loading effect. This is what is being left out with us. So we'll be having unsold stock, and then we'll be discussing about abnormal loss. Is this clear? Then we'll be looking at, when we look at the abnormal loss, we also discuss about normal loss also. I think most of you, as a, with my experience, the people will struggle at here. This is very important topic for you. Most of you are having question mark for this. Normal loss and abnormal loss, unsold stock, invoice price, and loading effect. Is this clear? Invoice price and loading effect. I think these things will be discussing in the coming two classes. I may not be able to finish off this. So around two classes I need to discuss with you in details of these things. Is this clear? Then after that, we start problems. Two more classes I shall be able to finish off these things, and then uh, after two classes we can start working out the problem. I hope this discussion is minimum. I can't start, even maybe, I don't know. Generally I see some people, if it is like by body language I can judge. Some of you may feel, I have told you that this topic is easy, this topic is difficult, we have learned intermediate. I can't judge. By sitting here in my house, I'm taking a lecture, video lecturing I'm giving, sending the video lecture. I don't know whether to what extent you are good and to what extent you are not good. But at least I can see my students whom I know. But I think I can have some sort of measurement about their, how to what extent they are good, to what extent. Because for the first time, those are listening to my classes, I think I can't judge. So that is why maybe don't feel that Sari is explaining in a detailed manner, or don't feel that Sari is cut shorting. I'm not doing. I'm doing a balancing act, my dear friends, covering everything. I'm trying my level best. You also might have seen in partnership or final account, I give utmost importance to concept, because CA foundation, 12 marks, true or false. True or false, I cannot give you 10, 20, 30, 100 questions. It is only the concept which we discuss in the classroom. Based on that memory, you can answer that. You can't have a separate material like you need to do. It's very difficult. You can give from anywhere. A true or false statement, it will be like that. So with this, let me conclude today's session. Okay. Till then, till next class, goodbye to all of you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.